Director of IT Security, and with me is Tams Matthew, Director of Application Security. I've been with the university for pretty much ever, so a lot of emails that you get about warning about phishing emails, you see my name, so at least you may not know my face, but you at least seen my name somewhere before. I am available, my whole department is available, so if you ever have any questions about doing something about protecting your data at the university or stuff for your own personal stuff, we're always available. One-on-one sessions, one-to-many sessions, please don't hesitate to call. One of the things will happen if you get phishing emails, every once in a while you'll get some phishing emails. People send them to me, they send them to IT customer care, to the help desk. Let us know. We look into it. I'd rather you not click. I'd rather you send me the emails and say, hey, is this something suspicious? Should I worry about this? I think one came out today from TAA Craft. It looks kind of suspicious. We'll look into it. We'll call HR, things like that. But I'd rather you send it to me. Let me click it. And I tell people that don't be the IT security vigilantes and say, oh, yep, I clicked it. It's malicious. So do that. Let us know. This is something we have. We've also got a blog, and I've got some stuff at the end of the slides. Just a quick question for you folks. When it comes to protecting your data, what do you consider to be your data, and where are you currently putting this? Is it papers? Is it, what is it? Do you have any specific personal research data that you're looking to protect?
Okay. Oh, yeah, well, for now, I've been using hard drives.
Okay, hard drives. Okay, so they're forms of like documents or spreadsheets and things like that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's good. So we are doing a couple of things on our own when your computers are at the university, right? So there's very limited things that we can do when you're outside, other than offer you advice and whatnot. We've got new security awareness training enhanced. So right now we have security awareness through Blackboard. Being a teacher, I assume faculty, most of you are familiar with Blackboard. So in the Blackboard site, there's links for IT security awareness training. We're enhancing it, so probably around September sometime, we're going to be putting up some new security awareness. I'm going to have a better screenshot at 3 o'clock one, so you'll see some of the modules that's going to be there. It's about password protection, encryption, FERPA, any IT security awareness topics. They'll all be there for you to it did quick videos, like 3-4 minutes. We're going to be starting in September, running some vulnerability assessments on all the computers throughout the university. So right now we've gotten some good groups from DARA, Development and Alumni Relations, Enrollment Services. We're doing it to ourselves in IT, and Student Affairs. So we're actually scanning probably 500-700 machines already. We're going through them, seeing what applications are on there. We're not looking at your content. We don't care about your content. It is more about what applications are installed and how secure those applications are, how outdated they may be. I probably should wait a couple more minutes. And how outdated they are. This way we know what the threats are and how secure or not secure that we may be. And once we know what vulnerabilities are there, and what software is out there, what versions, then we can do some patch management using a software called Landesk, which is already installed on all of our university-owned managed workstations, and it'll go out there and remotely deploy software. So you come in Thursday and overnight on Wednesday, Internet Explorer will be updated to the latest version. Your Adobe Reader is going to be patched and up to date. Because right now, if you get an email asking you to open up a PDF, and if you have an older version of Adobe Reader, you can then be easily infected and not even know it. And sit there and have someone remotely control your machine. All the data is going to be exfiltrated and leave the university and leave wherever, and you can click that anywhere. So knowing what's patched, what's vulnerable, and how to patch it easily. We're also going to be rolling out Identity Finder. And if you've been to prior Faculty Technology Days, you've heard me talk about Identity Finder and what it could be there. We've asked people if they want to come volunteer. Again, same groups. We've installed it on their workstation just for the pros and cons and any issues that might be on there. And what that does is it'll go through the files and look for sensitive data. It allows you to scan your own computers, look for sensitive data. You may not have realized that you might have had your personal tax forms, something with social security numbers, something with credit card information. You may store some stuff. It's even sensitive enough to see passwords in the file. So you scan it, you get a report that says, okay, this is sensitive data, credit cards, driver's license. Anything that's deemed sensitive to you and deemed sensitive to the university. We've got some compliance guidelines and stuff like that for us on our website. So that's gonna be part of all the managed installs as we roll out the new computers. And then we'll be remotely deploying it, so you'll be able to run it at any time you want. Email. It's gonna be a problem. Phishing emails are gonna be issues, no matter where you are, whether you're home, you're on your own Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, whatever. We've added some new features. If you've been here more than 4 or 5 years, we've had Postini, which is our email protection services, and we moved to Gmail, we got rid of that, and now we've just implemented Proofpoint going on about a year or so. If you remember back in the Postini days, we did quarantine summaries. So if you had emails, it would send you a quarantine summary. These 5, 10, 100 messages were quarantined, and you have to go through. I personally like that, and we switched back to the daily summaries with Proofpoint, because what happens is in Google, if it's a spam message, it just dumps it to a spam folder, which is not really great because it's almost just like another folder, and you can just tend to click it, and it might be something malicious and tries to install something on your computer or follows your link. At least the quarantine summary sort of just puts that away for you. Doesn't, and then the more egregious ones that are 100% spam, we don't even deliver them. They just never get sent. They're just not there. It's just that extra layer of protection. And then in about a month, 2 months ago, we just installed or enabled Proofpoint's TAP feature, which is Targeted Access Protection, which some of you may be a little annoyed because what used to be www.apple.com is now with this really long string, and if you hover over the mouse over there, you see this really long string. What that does is any link that's going to be sent to you, it's going to go and get analyzed by Proofpoint's services. So if it's got some malicious content behind the scenes, whether it's got a virus back there or it's got leading you to another document, or if it's a phishing site where it's going to ask you for username and passwords, it will know, it will learn. If it gets sent to about 1,000 people, 1 or 2 might get sent through as it learns, but it will over time know. And what the beauty about it is, it will alert us when somebody does fall victim to one of these scammed emails. So we'll get notices, and you may get a call from us saying, hey, we noticed you clicked this link, that was malicious, you may want to scan your computers or something we can help out. Did you notice something happened with your machines? And then we could also backtrack and see what has happened, because sometimes we'll have somebody who has their account has been compromised, and then now they're sending spam from their email account. We can go back and see where the root cause was, where the from a kill chain perspective, where exactly did that infection, so to speak, start. Has anybody experienced the Proofpoint stuff there? Any issues? No? Okay. So it does allow you to just click trusting Proofpoint services, but you should still use some, if you'd never expect that email, don't click the link, but there is some extra layer of protection behind it. And yeah, we talked about the digest and the URL summaries that we have. I know this is more about protecting yourself, so I wanted to show you some of the things that we've done for you, that we can do while your computers are on our networks and they're managed by the university. This is May 10th. This is a recent phishing email, okay? It doesn't look like a phishing email because it's asking you to document, to open up this PDF file. It's actually not a PDF file. And the scammers are trying new ways. So every day they're gonna come up with a new tactic. This latest tactic here is this little blurred out area here. That's specifically blurred out because they want you to think it's a real document. There's real words behind there. And this is something for you to read. The account, I blocked it out to protect the identity of the person whose account was compromised that was sending this. Their account gets compromised because they fell victim to another phishing scheme, and they just start this vicious cycle. So they get this, they see a PDF, and you know this person. It's okay, well, it must be something important. This is very common. And probably, I look to my guys here, it's probably the one that really gets the most victims is emails from people that we supposedly are expecting, which is why you really can't trust everything, or anything pretty much for that matter. So you click that link. I actually did this while we were downstairs just to get a couple of screenshots. But again, don't be the security vigilante. Let me do this for you. Because we're doing it on specific computers that are protected. We have other sites that can analyze it. Again, another one. Spammers blurred out the image, makes it look like a real document there. It says, oh, you can't be previewed thinking it's some kind of plug-in issue with your computer. So go out and click this link there. So it says download or click here. What it's actually doing is redirecting you to another site. And to even get you even more to get your guard down, it's put up this message, goes, no, this is a very highly secure document. Open this up. You gotta sign in and get that stuff. You say, okay, it must be important. I know the person, it's blurry, it's got real words behind it, it's important. Then it puts you up here, confirm your identity. Has anyone seen this? This one was sent to about 1,000 people? About 1,000 people, okay, so it's about 1,000, there's 20,000 of us here, so I got it myself, which is why I was able to easily capture this. So email ID, doesn't say Access IT ID, probably one of the first clues. But don't be fooled, spammers will do some recon against our environment, look for your name, right? Send messages as you, they can spoof your email address. They can put other things in there like Access IT ID, it's trivial to get that. It's trivial to get even the Fordham logos. They do that all the time. So you get these things, and I've seen one very creative. It had a picture of Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, Microsoft Outlook. Chances are you have one of those email accounts, so you think it's any one of those, you log in. You're actually not logging in to this thing. You are updating probably just a Google Sheet, a spreadsheet, with your username and password, along with all the other victims. And I can guarantee you, once you put in your username and password here, within 24 to 48 hours, if not less, your account will be used to send another 1,000 messages. And I say about 1,000 because that's pretty much the threshold where Google will stop sending messages, and you'll send another, and you'll get another set of victims. And what the spammers do, what these attackers do is, they'll do a little bit at this school, and then they move on to another school. They do it there, they move on to another school, they do it there. So sometimes you'll get compromised from a fish from the outside. Your accounts will get here, get some credentials, then they start to move outside. So your account will be used to send messages on an outside school. It's all about money here, because they'll do is they'll take some of these real credentials, and they'll sell them. They'll use some of them to gather more, but they want to end up selling. So I'm gonna do a little live demo here. This is Breakout. One of the things that we've been trying to do is come up with an encryption solution. We just haven't had any success here in finding one that works well, specifically for something with the password escrow, password management. So if you forget your password, we can reset it centrally for you. We haven't figured that out. We're doing an analysis. Hopefully we'll have something over the summer. We've actually had some staffing issues, so we're hiring someone else to help us come up with a good solution. The one we have now is not great. Anyone have heard of TrueCrypt? So TrueCrypt was and still is, a good encryption tool. They had gone under some analysis and some critiques, and there's a whole big thing with the NSA about what's really secure and what the government has access to. So they sort of just banded themselves, and this other company created a product called Breakout. So I'll do a quick demo. So you can actually use this yourself. Oops. I can get out of here. All right. So the software installs pretty easily, and I'll give you the link. It's put on the page there. So it's simple. You launch it. It's going to come up with this thing here. First thing you want to do is going to create a volume, basically just a container, if you will, right, of space. You can use an entire hard drive, or you can just carve out a little chunk of your computer or USB drive, basically just making a file, right, that's big enough to contain all of your stuff in there. So we'll walk through it. So I'm going to say create volume. Two ways here. You can do an encrypt the whole volume, the whole hard drive, but the simplest thing to do, and mostly if you said you have some Word documents, some spreadsheets and stuff like that, sometimes you just need maybe 100 gig, a couple hundred, not 100 gig, 100 meg, or maybe a gig of worth of space. You can do this any size that you have, and it creates a file. So you create something that works for you. Create a standard volume. I don't know if anybody needs this, if anybody's going to be out there in the world where somebody may have a gun put to your head and says, give me the password, and you don't want to give it up, so you want to protect your stuff. So it's got a little fancy way of actually allowing you to create a volume. It gives a fake volume. So you got a gun to your head, you say, okay, here's my password. You open up the volume, there's nothing there, and you're done, right? They're like, okay, go away. You can do that, you don't need to. Just do the standard volume. All right, so what you're doing here, you're just creating a file. Call this one secure file. Secure, right? Save it in my desktop, you just give me a random name, could be anything you want. And even if you want, you can do .vc, which is the short name, and there's instructions if you need, I can share that with you. So it's just gonna create a file. You could use the standard encryption that it has set up. Pretty much you're taking most of the default. Here's where you create how big you want this. Now it'll tell you how much free space you have on your computer. You can do it on a thumb drive, or you can save it on the computer and move this container anywhere you want. So I'm gonna create one called, make this 20 meg, very small. You can switch that there, even bigger. Password, I'll do this here. So normally, just in case you have somebody's shoulder surfing, you don't want somebody seeing this, but just for illustrative purposes here. My super secret password. Now the key to passwords, which I know we change them every 180 days, but the key really is to have longer passwords, right? So the longer your password, the harder it is to crack, especially if you use it outside that there's no protection against brute force attacks where somebody's constantly trying to use your password. So the longer is always going to be better, which is probably it's better than capitalization, special characters. So the longer it is, it's actually stronger than a shorter password with a couple of they call leak speak, using an @ sign instead of an A, things like that. Okay, so we'll create a password. Use the default file system. This way to work on a Macintosh and a PC. So what I'm doing here, we'll work on a Windows machine as well. And then you just move the mouse around for some random key generation. You don't have to do it forever. And then you just say format. It will create now a new volume. So I've got a 20, and then we're done. Right? Cancel, close that. So now we're done. So we've got this file here, secure VC. That is my container, right? That is sort of like my little mini secure hard drive. Now I gotta open it, okay? So I'm gonna quit this just for, okay. So I'm gonna launch Breakout like you would. It'll come up like this. I'm gonna select the file. Select the file there. It could be any one of these volumes here. It doesn't matter. It's just a point of reference. Then I'm gonna say mount. It's gonna ask me for my password. Just so you can see. Say okay. Now it's going to mount the volume, mount the drive, or it's going to decrypt that file for you. Maybe more. I got that wrong password. Huh?
Secret password, I believe it's
Super secret.
secret.
Ah, see, nobody corrected me. You were supposed to be writing it my password down.
You're not supposed to write down your password.
I know. Thank you very much.
I keep mine on
Someone's
the, it's a
listening.
sticky note right by my computer.
All right, there you go. Thank you. So nobody's thinking like we do, and so I know I got a good, well, unless nobody's admitting to it, I got a secure group here that I have to.
We don't try to be memorized.
So, and here it is. You just put a new volume up here, new hard drive, right? So I can take some slides. I'm going to take the slide here, dump that there. There's my, and I can call this, I don't have to change it, but if I want to just for illustrative purposes, just a demo here. I call this one secure, just so you know it's different from the other. All right, and then when we're done, we can say dismount. So if I'm not selected, and I can quit, if I quit this application, that volume goes away. It sort of unmounts it for you. But I can highlight it, and then just say dismount. Okay, and then it's gone. So if somebody comes here, all they can see, so if I have really sensitive research data, right, that I want nobody to see, I have a copy of it here that nobody can get access to unless they have the Veracrypt application and my password, right, my password. You can take this file, you can email it to yourself, you can put it on a drive, you can put it anywhere you want. You can move it around everywhere, and then wherever you use it, you can install Veracrypt and decrypt it so you can get access to this. So I'll show show you real quickly. It's got the same one selected. Okay, there's the volume, and there's the file in there. Okay, so it works very simple, very easy. Again, just the caveat there is, and Ross, I'll show you real quick. Boom, file goes away. All right, so you can say that. The caveat there is, if you forget the password, you do not have that file anymore. Okay. While I certainly don't write the password down, if you needed to write something down, there are password vaults. I don't recommend them highly, but if you have 100 passwords and you want to keep it secure, things like LastPass, they work. But remember, the keys to the kingdom now. So if you have one password for all of your passwords, and that one is given away, and that's a weak password, then everything is gone, right? So why bother? So it's something to consider. If you needed to write something down, maybe you write it down in encrypted format and put it in a safe in your house. Don't carry it in the pocket, don't put it on the post-it, things like that. So there are ways around this thing. Just think about what's the worst case scenario.
Can I just ask for the password manager thing? So I used one, it was like highly recommended by David Pogue, I thought that was a good source, but, you know, 'cause I have like 200 passwords, you think that's okay as long as no one gets my, like, people can't hack into that?
As much as I want to say don't use one, I have to be reasonable, right? Security versus usability, so we've
Yeah.
got to figure out what to do here.
Yeah.
Try not to, okay?
That ship has sailed.
Okay, I agree, right? They'll turn off the recording, no, I'm just kidding. You could use them, but
Yeah.
think about how you're using them.
Yeah,
If you've got a weak password, LastPass was compromised,
Yeah.
just because it's secure, and it's the one I would recommend. It was compromised last year. These things will be on the news. Chances they've got millions of users, right? Chances of somebody having that password and getting to your account within the time that they've told you, it's going to be very slim. But keep an eye out, keep an ear out for those things. Change the password, use long one, and
Yeah.
don't use that password anywhere
Right,
else.
yeah.
Okay? So yes, use them, if you need them, and be careful about how you use them. I can certainly give tips later on that for you. Backup your data. That thumb drive. Oh, and just to the point, I have to do a 2-minute version of this thing later. So I put it on the thumb drive. Thumb drive crapped out. So I had another backup here. Okay. This happens to be, they sell USB drives that are also encrypted. This one here, you can actually encrypt it. It's built into it. There are other ones a little nicer than this one. This one rolls off and I keep losing it. So there are other ones out there. You want to back up your data, you could use an external hard drive, we were mentioning. Cloud service, they have automated cloud services. I personally, at home, I've got a automated cloud service, so my stuff gets backed up into the cloud. I've got an external hard drive sitting right next to my computer, and I've even got File Vault on my computer as well. Services like Backblaze, CrashPlan, Carbonite, and then there's manual stuff, right? Copy your stuff there. If I lose that file, I may remember the password, but I might lose that encrypted volume, or it goes bad, or I put it on a USB drive, and USB drive goes bad like the one in my pocket just did. If I didn't have a backup, it wouldn't be good. Dropbox. Be careful with all the other ubiquitous storages, like Dropbox, Box, things like that. Using it for university-sensitive data could be an issue. Okay. Google Drive right now is recommended. Okay. We actually have before it's too late. Right? You don't want to. We've got data classification policy. If anybody wants these links, we can write them down or share them with you. These are on our website, fordham.edu/secureIT. The links are there, and just do a search for data classification policy. And we also, someone helped us with data classification guidelines. May or may not be in the room. We've got a nice little grid about what data you want to use, what data is sensitive and whatnot. Definitely a great resource to go to. The other thing is protect yourself. I mentioned this before, patching. It's as complicated and convoluted as this little comic is. There's a lot to worry about. But when you get prompted for the patching, whether it's Adobe, Chrome, just do it. Trust them. If it comes up to an issue, it's easier to back out, and have problems than it is to be vulnerable and to be attacked by an attacker. Social media.
Shannon, the email you sent.
Oh, right, thank you. So, again, more emails that come from me with my name on it sometimes. When we say upgrade to this, you do this, we're gonna be trying to do this. We couldn't patch anybody's workstation because we weren't doing that, right? We've got a couple of pilot groups, and hopefully in September we'll be able to do that. So you'll see emails from us warning about just latest and greatest, 0-day vulnerabilities, they call it, where there's a vulnerability and there's no patches for it, and in a couple of days there will be. So if I send those, try to apply those things to your own personal computers and do that stuff. So I can only warn you about and protect your university equipment, but apply that. And there's gonna be certain levels of severity. So I'm gonna tell you about the really high level ones and take those to heart and use those. Social networking safety. There's many, many things you can do. A lot of the links, if anybody uses Facebook here, a lot of the links they send you with the videos or these cool little infographics, it's usually a scam that gets you to click something else. Or if anything, it's more about money, because then they give you other ads and about them. So they don't hurt you directly. And we're mentioning it today. We're doing social media with the students today. More and more, just use it safely and securely.
If adopting some of the things that we're talking about, getting a student to post something on the Blackboard, does that goes through your system before it gets there? I mean, there are times where I've clicked on like a homework assignment and then my computer's like, no. Like, where does this happen? Like, when it gets on the system or when it comes off the system? How safe is it on our Blackboard system?
If somebody, you can post a link, any kind of
Yeah.
link or any kind of video or any kind of file onto Blackboard. There's no
There's
protection.
no protection
Like
there.
that. No, unfortunately, no. There's
So
nothing.
effectively, I can't really trust any.
You should never trust anybody.
Yeah.
That's my model.
Yeah.
Just because
So-
they're not out to get,
No, I mean, I don't
doesn't mean
think
out to
they're,
get you.
but then how do I incorporate half the stuff that we're being encouraged to do?
So what you have to do is you have to take all of other levels of protection. You want to secure your computer, you want to use good passwords, you want to patch your computers up to date. You want to have antivirus on that, you want to have your local firewalls, you want to have all these other tools built in and set up to protect yourself. So you have, it's defense in depth, right? So you have to get every little layer. So if a student gives you a video that's got an Adobe Reader vulnerability or sent you a PDF, it's actually a vulnerable PDF file. If you've got Adobe Reader and antivirus turned on and up to date,
It should pick it
you're
up.
okay. You should be okay, right? Relatively speaking,
Okay.
right? Overwhelmingly, you're gonna be fine. If you don't have all those protections, so you've gotta take a little chunk out of
Okay.
security as much as
That
you
makes
can.
sense, thank you.
And nothing is ever gonna be
No.
secure, because that's the attacker's gonna do. If you show the email one, they're going to look for the next best and best thing there. Again, and there's other sites, there's other sites I've seen out there where it's called Don't Go Home or something like that, or Home Alone. So it's a hashtag. Some guys will actually search Twitter hashtags for people who post the things Home Alone. So now you've got your kid or whatever, and you do all this other stuff. You've checked in your Facebook profile, your Twitter profile, all that stuff is public. Now I see a tag Home Alone, and I can search for you. I can certainly find your address by pictures and other image recognition. Now everybody has to know you're alone and I can attack you physically. So be careful what you're doing now. Back to passwords. Password 123 is very common, right? So there's one company, LinkedIn, which was compromised recently, right? They posted something like 50 million passwords. Now it just came out that it's actually 117 million passwords because somebody was trying to sell those passwords. So places, all those passwords, they go online. There are places where all your passwords are out, well, not yours specifically, but the ones that you use on other sites, which is why I said don't use your passwords everywhere. Try to use it differently, but maybe all your social media you want to use the same password. But your email, definitely email, and your things like LastPass, different, because they can get you. But all those passwords were compromised. So I talked about brute force before, right? So I'll just drop it down here. 40% of all the passwords that they've analyzed comprise of just 100 passwords. So if I want to try your account, I don't have to sit through millions of passwords. I could try the top 100, and then out of 100 people, I'm going to get 40 of you. Okay, that's why these passwords are out there. So always change passwords if you want passwords. All right, and we'll just dump it over to Tams. Tams is going to talk a little bit more about password security and protection. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Matthew Tans. I'm the application director of application security. For the last 10 years, I was managing most of the enterprise database over here. I was the director of database. now I moved to UISO. I think that what we are going to discuss is something related to the password. I think that before I get into my presentation, a couple of things Shannon mentioned. One is the email spam, the PDF document a lot of folks received. It was asking for the username and the password. It may look like legitimate because there's a reason there. If you log into our self-service banner, if you click on your W2, it will ask for a username and a password. You log into the SSB using a username and password, and when you click on the W2 again, the deception is there. So when email like that comes, we may think that those are the legitimate ones. Just as Shannon said, leave it to UISO, we will take care of that one. The second thing is that the Blackboard question mentioned, I will come to that Blackboard also. I have some notes over here. I think that this morning we heard many things about the social media and the social network. One area I did not hear, but those are the things we are going to discuss here, the social engineering. Social media, social network is a great tool, but there are, unfortunately, I need to say that when smart people there, they need to do the social engineering to get the data. So at this point, we are using a single password to authenticate the majority of our system. You know that just as Shannon mentioned about the people who use the password 123. Another password is people use incorrect. So if they forget and type the password, and they will get a warning, your password is incorrect. So they can go through that one. But now things are changing drastically. The bad people can steal data. So a new method of authenticating emerged a long time ago. I think that most of them sitting in this room using that method is known as a multi-factor authentication. I think that within the multi-factor authentication, most of the companies are using two-factor. How many of you know multi-factor authentication? Is anybody using multi-factor? Okay, 1, 2. I think that knowingly or unknowingly, you are using multi-factor authentication on your, especially in your banking system. If you have an online banking, and when you log into your online banking, once you provide the credentials and everything, verification happen, then you can do the transaction. The next day, you try to log in from your office, and username and the password won't accept. They will send some type of information to your phone or to an email, or you will get a call. That is known as the two-factor authentication. So knowingly or unknowingly, we are using the two-factor authentication. The good thing with the two-factor authentication is that it is giving an additional layer of security. So I will move to this session. We are going to discuss what is multi-factor authentication and what are the different factors we can use in multi-factor authentication, and how it works. Why do we need multi-factor authentication? And the last one, what we can achieve using multi-factor authentication. What is multi-factor authentication? This is a very straightforward definition. Multi-factor authentication is a simple but effective security system that involves the use of at least two factors or methods of authentication. That means once you are logging into the system, you are putting your username and the password. That is one factor. And you are going to use a second factor. That's we are going to use. It groups different factors together so that even if one got compromised, the data remains protected. The one got compromised, the data remains protected. I will use the banking example a little later. These are the different factors we use. I think that most of them know the three factors. What you know. What you know means we always know our password. And if you are looking into that one, something you know your password, banking, you know your PIN, and you know your security questions. The second thing is something you have. You may have a phone. You may have a USB key. That is what is known as something you have. And the last one is something you are. They call us a something you are. That means your fingerprint or your facial scanning or your retina scanning. Those are the things what you are, especially in a highly secure environment, especially the government and the highly sensitive data by the financial organization, they use the last factor also. I think that in our discussion, we are going to stick with the two factors, something you know and something you have. So, what is a two-factor authentication? Two-factor authentication adds a second layer of security to your online account. That means when you are logging in, you are putting your username and the password. Then it requires a second layer. That means whenever you are creating an account or whenever you are registering an account, it will ask, oh, we need a second factor. The second factor can be your cell phone, your landline, another email address. So whenever you log in, we will warn you that when a login attempt happened and you need to verify. That is the two-factor authentication. Verifying your identity using a second factor, like your phone or other mobile devices, prevent anyone but you from logging in, even if they know your password. One of the areas UISO dealing on a daily basis is compromised account. We get email that people's account get compromised, so we will reset their account. So if we are using a two-factor authentication, there are few advantages there. Everybody hate resetting your password. We just select a great password, and if it is not compromised, 180 days later you need to change that password. If you are using a two-factor authentication, you have a password, and you register with that device, and you log into the system. It asks for a second authentication. It may send an SMS to your phone if you have a smartphone. There's a pin there. You can type that pin to the application, you will be in. Or just like this other banking system, you log into their online and they will call you. Wait, are you the one trying to log into the system? You can say yes, and you can be in. So if you are doing this one, so once you are trying to log into a system and it sent an information to your smartphone, or you got a call and you can tell them, this is not me. That means my password got compromised. So you don't need a warning from anyone. You will know that when your password got compromised because of somebody tried to log in and it sent some information to you. Going back to the Blackboard. If you set up the Blackboard using the two factors, that is username, password, and a phone. So whenever you want to go to the Blackboard, you need to use your password and the PIN. So you got an email from a Blackboard, some link you got from a student. I will never click that link. If a student is putting some information, that information should be in the Blackboard, right?
Yeah, no, I'm saying in Blackboard, when I check my discussion
Yeah.
board, there it is. I mean, it's behind in our Blackboard. I would
Yeah.
not, on an email,
Yeah, I will never click that one.
from an email, no,
Email, yeah.
but in a discussion board, I would presume
Yeah, that's correct.
that that's an actual student, because
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah, that's the way now. The two-factor can help that.
but there's no way I can put a two-factor to get into Blackboard.
I will come to that one.
Okay.
I will come to that one. So this is how the two-factor authentication works. Majority of our system, we put a username over here, and it will jump to the application. In this case, we put the username and saying that on your username, password, good. I am going to make a confirmation to a device. It may be a phone, a smartphone, or a landline, or a second email. It will send the information. We will verify it. The system will tell you that one, your username is good, your password is good, your second authentication is good, go there. If a bad person come, the good thing with the two-factor authentication is it's two band. That means this is the password band, this is the other factor. Who is holding the phone in this case? Bad guy can get your username and the password. But who is holding the phone here? The bad guy? It is in your hand. So we are minimizing, compromising the account. So how it works? Those who have personal Gmail account or the Hotmail account, you may already experience this one. I have a personal Gmail account and I enabled two-factor authentication over there. In this case, I put my username and all of a sudden, I got a pin to my phone. It says that one, enter the verification code, then I look into my phone, I got the pin, I put the pin over here, the 380546, that is the pin they send, every time they send a new pin, and once I put this one, I am in. This is the way the two-factor authentication works. So, why do we need this one? Especially in a university setup, chances are highly likely the accounts can get compromised. If you are looking into the statistics, the number one industry get more compromised is healthcare. The second is financial institution. Third is almost 17% is higher education. And everybody know the story of University of Maryland. One network administrator's password get compromised, rest is history. This happened with MIT, Harvard, University of Ohio, even this year, University of Central Florida. I think that almost 3,000 accounts got compromised. In the university system, there's some good news and very bad news. If a student's account get compromised, only that particular student's information is get compromised. If a faculty member account is compromised, every student under that faculty will compromise. If a university administrator's account get compromised, an entire department or an entire school's data can be get compromised. So the password itself is not going to help us. We need an extra layer of authentication. So the two-factor authentication adds a second layer of security. That means keeping your account secure because you are holding your phone or a second email, you are logging into a second email or you are getting a phone call to your home. So the second factor authentication is separate and independent from your username and password. That's a straightforward. What we can achieve using the second factor authentication. It prevents unauthorized users from logging into your account. So, today your account get compromised, we need to reset your account. Tomorrow, if your account get compromised, you will know that compromise immediately. How? If your username and the password get compromised, if you have a second factor authentication, you will know that one immediately. How? I just want to make sure that you understand what I'm talking. Today, if your account get compromised, you may not know that one immediately. But if you have a second factor authentication, if your account get compromised, chances are highly likely you will know that compromise immediately. How?
Well, you'll get an email.
You get an email, or you got all of a sudden randomly you got a pin to your phone, or you get some type of notification to your registered device. So you will know that one. So you don't need to wait for an email from somebody to change your password. You can make action by yourself. Okay.
I'm hitting the fast forward button. Two-factor, perfect. How can we get it? How can, right now my email is I log in and get it. One factor. Blackboard, one factor. Can we jump right to the case?
We
Sold
are,
us.
that's
Sold
it.
us. Let's go.
That is a great encouragement. We are doing this one, multi-factor authentication. Since you ask a question or get some type of encouragement, I need couple of faculties. I wish everyone in this room
Volunteer right here.
and to do the pilot program so that.
Fordham.com.
Uh,
Email or whatever it is.
And if we can get a few more, that is great. And I will wait here. I will get the name, the contact information. So most chances are highly likely we will roll out the pilot program within a week or two. So we can get the faculty's experience in how that is going to work. And the second thing is that one, you can protect your identity. Your identity is not getting compromised. And it protect your data. That is one of the things that Shannon stressed. Your research data, any type of data, you can protect when you have the second factor authentication. And this is the major one. Protect money. University of Maryland, they spent millions of dollars after the compromise. The same thing with the Florida, I think the Central Florida State this year. Millions of dollars they need to spend to correct this one. It's a PR nightmare. Forget about the PR nightmare. This is our data, our identity. We need to protect our data. And as two-factor authentication is a great tool, and it is going to help us tremendously. And you may ask this one, oh, do we need to do the second factor authentication all the time? How we are going to do from a home, from another country? There may be a lot of questions. We are going to address those issues when we are rolling out this one. But I can tell you something. One of the things that we get a lot of compromise from Nigeria. We get a lot of compromise from Nigeria. But if you are looking, I'm just making this up, but if you are looking into our enrollment, if you don't have no students from Nigeria, or no one is logging in from Nigeria, we can set a rule over there. If anyone is coming from Nigeria, block it. Or anyone is coming from Nigeria, just give an alert. So two-factor, we can do a lot of things over there. How we are going to use that one, but it is going to give more added benefit over there. But because of the lack of time, I'm going to stop here. And if you have any question, I am willing to answer. But I need a few more faculty members over here for
I was down to write my name.
yeah, I think that.
All right, and the other thing about, you said in Blackboard, if somebody sends you links in there, you don't know if it's secure. For me personally, I'm pretty fond of Chrome. Chrome's got a lot of built-in link URL protection. People don't have that either, but again, with Proofpoint, no matter where you are, when you get those links in those emails, no matter where you're at, the phone, your home, you're at work, when you click those links in email, those are being analyzed and protecting you. So if it's bad, you'll get a pop-up, blocks in the site with block from Fordham. It's malicious stuff like that. But Chrome has some of that stuff. So Google's got a lot of that infrastructure built in.
Yeah.
So from a browser perspective, Chrome is a little bit better, I've seen, with protecting stuff like that.
We have a mix of Mac, PC, Windows 10 is coming out. I don't expect all that stuff, but our own computers, I have a PC. Windows 10 is more secure than 8 or whatever. You say Chrome, I've gotten, well, they don't use Internet Explorer anymore. Chrome is good, Firefox, the new Microsoft, I'm using that, I'm using my own virus scan. I guess the best we can do is, like you said, patch, virus scan, keep up to date. Microsoft's gotten much better at realizing that viruses are bad for their business, but nonetheless.
Right, and then just if those of you who are Mac users, which most of us here are from IT.
I'm finance, so I have to do PCs.
Okay, so the Macs aren't, everybody always says that Windows are always the ones that are being attacked. There are vulnerabilities in Macs, so don't think that just because you have a Mac, you're safe. You're overwhelmingly safe relatively compared to a Windows machine and the issues behind them.
Yeah, to follow up with, you said, is it worth us upgrading to Windows 10 even though
question to ask because
No.
it's about compatibility.
The problem is
From
compatibility
a-
issue.
Compatibility
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah,
if
it
I'm
would be
trying
more
to,
secure, but it depends on what you need, right? So
And if you're using
Yeah.
if there's a
PowerPoint,
if there's a service that we're providing to you,
I mean, will that be problems with communicating with Blackboard or something? Or once you're in Blackboard, you're
I don't,
outside
there's
of
so
the
many
rules?
things we have to test, we've gotta make
Mm.
sure, so we wanna say, please don't do that, because if you have problems with
Okay.
Blackboard, if you have
Yeah,
problems with
sure.
that, then you're gonna say, well, how come you know, so we've gotta go through a lot of these things, and we're reliant on the vendor themselves, we're relying on
Yeah,
Blackboard,
yeah.
we're relying on Lucian to
Sure.
upgrade all their software to make sure everything, it's not easy just to say, you know,
No, I
go ahead and
know.
do this. So it's unfortunate we have to step back, and because of that, I've gotta accept, you know, someone's gotta accept the security risks that come along with that. I'm not happy about that, but this is what we have to do. So we're looking for compensating controls, what can we do
Yeah.
around that? So like I said, if you're gonna go to Blackboard sites, you know, maybe if Blackboard doesn't work for Chrome, you've got a problem there too. But use other things, again, defense in depth, so try to, you know, do as much as you can, everywhere. So,
Yeah.
things will happen, you know, we're trying our best here.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that we are using little over 80 applications here. So we need to make sure that the applications
Sure.
are compatible with that one. I can give one example over here, and everybody love Firefox and Mozilla, and they hate Internet Explorer. In the olden days, the joke is that I use IE only once to download Firefox. But unfortunately, with the banner, I'm just talking about the banner. Banner has a Java plugin, and the Mozilla,
Yeah.
the Mozilla and the Firefox.
No,
Mozilla
right.
also, no, the Chrome already removed that plugin from. We cannot use that on Chrome. By end of December, Mozilla will remove that one. Then IE is the only browser is available for using Java plugins. So it is not an easy thing, but we need to test it. And,
Right, and then Banner application itself is trying to go away from Java plugins themselves, but that's what takes time.
No, we already
And
had
then
problems
whoever
with
adds
Grace
it,
with
upgrade.
home, yeah.
So it's a good game of cat and mouse.
Yeah.
Regarding the backing up of data, what's the status of the My Files?
Yeah.
Are you phasing that out in favor of the Google Drive? There were some messages about that earlier in the year.
I don't have the exact information, but that is, the idea is to move away from My Files and to lend yourself to using Google Drive.
And if the stuff, I have a lot of stuff on My Files, will it automatically migrate, or am I gonna have to?
I don't think that has been finalized, but there will be a transition. There will be, whether it's we're doing it with you, whether we're doing it for you, or we're doing it alongside you. We're not gonna leave you in the dark, so we're cognizant of that because we ourselves use it. I mean, Patty uses it, we have internal processes in ourselves, and we're slowly transitioning because we're trying to go through the pains ourselves to see what problems you're gonna have. And once we figure that out, so no, it's gonna go away, but not like that. You know, we're not shutting it off tonight and then you're done tomorrow.
I think that one of the areas IT especially discussing is a lot of areas. They are using thousands of files in My Files. How to migrate it? Now, as you said, you have thousands of files there. It's a roadmap. It is in the roadmap. It is.
Thank you very much.